Okay, so people for whom it is late, or if you cannot continue, no worries, the recordings will be there. But if you have any questions you want to discuss, please shoot. I think
Devanshu,
Vijay had a
Excel,
question. Vijay.
Excel file. I have updated that question also in Excel.
Okay, okay. This one.
Devanshu, how do I copy my questions for file into this because I don't have access?
So, okay, so you don't have access. So wait a second. What I'll do is question and answer.
Even I can't edit also.
You should have the edit access. Let me check 1 second. So I'll go to manage access. And so what is your, this is Srini, right?
Srinis23m@gmail.com. No, I'm not there in the list.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, let's cross check that. Maybe you have the view access only.
Yeah.
See, everybody has edit access. So can view. There you go. This one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the problem. Okay, I'm allowing the editing.
Okay, sure.
So now you should be able to do that. Can you please test quickly while we are on the call?
Sure.
Meanwhile, I'll just try to answer Vijay's question. Okay, transient provider. Okay, let me copy this and put it there. Okay, transient provider, composite provider, query. How should I apply analysis authorizations? Transient provider, composite provider, query. So you have a transient provider, you have a composite provider, you have a query. Is it?
Yeah.
So how should I apply?
No, we were discussing today the question which one person has asked.
Yes.
It is related to that I told. So I haven't added it here. So I have a transient provider, and you have built a query on top of transient provider. I just included composite provider here just in case. But if I have to apply analysis authorizations, how should I apply in BW?
See, if you don't have any BW related objects, I think I have to check whether you can apply analysis authorizations on transient provider or not. Maybe you can, as far as I understand, maybe you can. See, first thing is you have to understand that analysis authorizations will only apply on an info provider. You cannot apply an analysis authorizations on a CDS view. So info provider means your ADSOs, your composite providers, and your open ODS views. Now here, if you have transient provider, then I think transient provider will also be visible when you create an RSEC admin analysis authorization object. I have to check that. My understanding says
I'll give you one more thing. I mean, why I understood this, why I brought this is we always apply analysis authorizations most of the time.
Right.
And the reason why I put composite provider here is like we have a possibility to join info object. In this case, is there a possibility I can join with the transient provider and an info object or something and apply analysis authorization on an info object or something like that? I mean, the reason why I put the composite provider is that reason. I mean,
okay. Yeah, see, that's exactly what I'm coming to. So first you have to check whether you can analysis authorizations RSEC admin is it making the transient provider visible and applicable for analysis authorizations or not in RSEC admin. First thing you have to check. If you are not able to see the transient providers which are created in analysis authorizations RSEC admin, then you have to put something in between, which is your composite provider you can put, or you can have your from transient provider. You cannot put a join from a transient provider in a composite provider. I don't think that's possible. In the composite provider, you can have a CV, you can access a CV, and you can access your regular info providers. You cannot access a transient provider in a composite provider, as far as my knowledge goes. So that's not possible. Now what you have to check is whether you can add the transient provider in the RSec admin or not. If that is possible, then of course you will have no problem. If that is not possible, then query your next object which you have to check is the BW query which you have created. If you give access to the BW query in the role, PFCG role, just give the access to the BW query to the user and then check whether he or she is able to access that query or not.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know whether transient providers are visible or not. Let's check it out. Maybe because we have a transient provider which we created, right, in our BW system. So let's quickly check that. I'll open a session in BW. Do you remember the name of the transient provider?
I think you created it
You
in
stored in
S4.
the.
I think it is there in the data source. I can trace back from there. ODP CDS. Then we had the self. And then I had it under runtime. And then this one was it, right? So this was the data source I created. Let me check. This will be based on the operational data provider. Okay. And transient provider is nothing but 2C and the name of the operational data provider. So we'll have that. So see, this is based on this operational data provider, right? So we will copy this and just put 2C. That is your transient provider name. So first, let me check whether this transient provider is available or not. How can I check that? What is the T code? Srini, tell me the T code. Srini,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Tell me.
It is RS.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Okay, Soresh, tell me the T code quickly. This time you can't ask Shivangi. Please don't take any help.
No, Devanshu, I don't remember the T code.
Come on, this T code you have to have on your fingertips. Shikha, tell me the T code quickly. Prabhanjan, tell me the T code. Prabhanjan, are you there? No, I guess. Arpan, are you there?
Yeah, yeah. It's RSH2 underscore HANA something.
RSH2 underscore HANA. No, there is no T code like that. Come on, guys. It's very important. Altaf, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I don't remember Devanshu.
Not even single guy. Shakti, you are the most proactive one. Shakti, tell me the T code.
RSRTS underscore ODP DIS
ODP.
underscore DIS.
Bingo. Perfect.
Yeah.
That is the T code. Please remember, this is the very important T code for you to check the transient provider. Now, the name of the transient provider is this. So we will give the name of the operational data provider. Please remember, you don't provide the name of the transient provider here. Here it is asking you for ODP name, operational data provider name, which is your SQL view name. Okay. So this is the transient provider is created. This is the transient provider. This is the name 2C. So transient provider is very much active. Now what we'll do is we will check. I'll open another session. RSec admin. Let's try to create an analysis authorization object. Okay. RSec admin. So we will give individual maintenance. Yes, let's go for individual maintenance. Come on. Maintain authorizations. So we will create an analysis authorization. Okay, let me give a name. Z. What should we give the name? OLAP stat, right? Because we are creating OLAP stat. So we will create the analysis authorization object. Now here, I'm going to add. Okay, fine. I'll give some text. OLAP query stat. Okay. Then I'm going to add it. Now here, characteristic dimension. Let me check info queue authorization. Insert special characters. Special characters mean those TCT, these ones. TCT activity info provider there. So in the info provider, assign for info provider, this guy. Let's go there. Interval description. How did we give the value of this? Wait, let me save this first. Yeah, so character description interval. It's not going inside. Characteristic not authorization relevant. Oh, I have to make these characteristics authorization relevant first. Then you can add. So 0 TCA iProv is not authorization relevant. So we have to make that authorization relevant. Let's quickly take that. We try to make it authorization relevant. Okay. Activate. Yeah, so the basic configuration is not there for the RSec admin. Okay, so this is done. Now I come back and I go. Let me come back and then go inside again. Now activity it's saying. Do I need to make all? Yeah, I have to make it all. Yeah, sorry, it's going to take some time. But what you have to do is check here in the 0 TCA iProv whether you are able to see the transient provider or not, to see this guy. Because usually this allows ADSOs, this will allow composite provider, and this will allow OpenODS view. But if you can see the transient provider, then our problem is solved. You can provide the authorizations for the transient provider. But if not, then I think you have to resort to your query. So from the query, you can do that. I will test this out. Okay, let me make a note and I will see if it is possible or not.
I'll also try.
Yeah, please try that. 1 second. I'll make a note. So this is analysis authorization for transient provider. That was a very good question, by the way. Okay. So next is how rule group works in AMDP. How rule groups work in AMDP.
No, you answered that during the concept.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think. So you're talking about code. Are you talking about in AMDP code? So if you are worried about the ABAP, the AMDP class and method, it works exactly the same. You will have to create multiple AMDP class and method for different rule groups. So rule groups will be different, but the class which will be generated will be the same, _M and _C. So you'll be able to see that in in the respective class and method. So that is the workings are the same. Whether you have one rule group or you have multiple rule groups, you can edit them in the class. So they will have separate methods there. How is the S000 definition assigned? Oh, okay. This is also I've answered, right? So the answer is this. Where is the name? HANA runtime. ABAP routines.
So for field routine, there will be one number generating it doesn't depend on the transformation, right? You keep
It
on adding
depends.
one number.
It is basically made up of segment ID, group ID, and rule ID. The method name of the field routine will be segment, group, and rule. And this segment ID, group ID, rule ID will be transformation specific. So by default, when you activate the transformation, automatically a segment ID is created, automatically a group ID is created, and a rule ID is created. So if you have multiple rule groups, multiple field routines, then the segment ID and group ID probably might be same and rule ID will change. If you want to see that, the best place is your standard content which is activated. So if you go there,
But your rule ID, it was like 50 which has come.
Yeah, so that is by system automatically identify. I don't have any control over there. System automatically identifies that. Let's check what was the rule ID given. And the best way to check what is the sequential number, how it increases, is your standard content. So here, if I quickly jump to my routines, okay. Yeah. So see, it is given G01 rule R50, right? So that means it is my segment ID, my group ID G01, and then my rule ID R50. If I create another field routine, then it will be, I think, same group ID, same segment ID, but the R50 might change to R51, or there will be R50 underscore 1 in the standard content. If I go to sales and distribution, let's go to the integrated data warehousing layer, which is the third one. That field routines, so we can check it there. So this is the item data. So if you go expand and go to the transformation, let's open this transformation, and then we will see how the numbers are assigned. Okay, open.
Devachu, while it is opening,
Yeah.
earlier we were not allowing field routines much. We were asking people to write either start routine or end routine.
Correct.
Now with this AMDP, it's good performance wise or anything, any other.
That's right. That's right. In AMDP, not because it is AMDP. Yes, AMDP will definitely play a role, but there's another major fact which also gives you more flexibility to write field routines. And that major fact is field routines are also now processed package by package. No more field by field, record by record. And because it is also package by package, the performance is same as start routine or end routine. So you feel free to write it either in start routine or end routine or field routine, because now everything is package by package. So it's fine. Doesn't matter. Let's go to rules, routines. See, there are 17 field routines. So let's check this one and then we will see. Okay, so here it is. Yeah, there's a sequential number. So we have R43, then 49, 51, 52, 56, 57, so on and so forth. So system is generating these numbers. These are of course sequential numbers, but not exactly sequential. This skipping like 43, 44, 45, I can't see. We have 40.
50 is there.
50 is there.
We are the
it is, so it was there, we deleted it and we recreated it in the HANA transformation. But this is for the same conversion. See, this is for the same field, which is quantity. If I'm not wrong, cumulative order quantity, they are using a unit conversion plus they must be doing. Yeah, there. The category, same thing which we are doing. So I think it also depends on the info object on which you are creating the routine. So this info object, was given the number R50. Some other info object is given the number R51. Some other info objects R52. So maybe that's why, because we copied it and the info object is the same. So the same group ID, sorry, segment ID, group ID, and rule ID is given.
Okay.
Okay, next question is, what is the next question? I have archived data in NLS in the DSO or cube. Okay. When I migrate to advanced DSO and apply AMDP logic, what might happen? Should be using ABAP only. Yes. So because in the transformation, if you keep HANA runtime, it does not support the data in the NLS. That means if the data is in NLS, so far, at least till HANA 2.0 SP04, HANA BW for HANA 2.0 SP04, it is not supported. You have to keep ABAP runtime if you want to deal with NLS data also in during the transformation pull from the source. Maybe in future, HANA runtime will start supporting it, because now the new concept of DTO has come in. So if you have NLS, when you migrate to BW for HANA, you have two options. Either you can stay on NLS because backward compatibility of NLS is still there in BW for HANA. But the recommended functionality is now changed to DTO, data tiering optimization, which is different than NLS. Now we have concept of hot data, warm data, cold data, and frozen data. There are 4 temperatures now in BW for HANA: hot, warm, cold, and frozen. Hot stays in RAM, warm stays in extension node's disk. And this extension node is a special type of HANA server which you have to add. If you don't have the extension node, you have to add it. It is based on Sybase IQ technology, and it has very highly optimized and compressed and fast disk. It is not a normal disk. It is a specialized disk which is performance wise very fast. Of course, not as fast as RAM. RAM is the fastest, but that is the next level from RAM, which is your optimized disk, and that is what is called extension node. Then you have cold data, which you store in Hadoop or a third-party source. And then you have frozen data. Frozen data is also stored in the third-party or Hadoop, but the difference between cold and frozen is that cold data can be retrieved back, and cold data can be brought into your warm data store or hot data store. But frozen data, once it is gone, then there is no coming back from there. There is no retrieval from there. So you have to be careful. So the only way is you have to delete the frozen store completely, and then you can load the frozen data again. So that is the difference. So all these details are there in the PowerPoint, which I have given as part of the topic material. Inside that, you have something called data tiering optimization. Go through these 2 presentations. It will give you all the details. So when you migrate your NLS, either you go for DTO or you keep using NLS. In both the cases, so far, your data, the transformation HANA runtime does not support it, but in future it might support it. So if you are doing the migration now, then yes, ABAP runtime is the only option for now.
Devanshu, one question related to hot, cold, warm. So when I do this data tiering thing, at the runtime, my user can only access the hot data, or he can access the warm data as well?
Hot and warm are always available. The question is on the cold data. So hot data is RAM, warm data is disk, but both are available to user. What is
irrespective of it not being in RAM, it is still available at runtime, the warm data?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
It is available. But the only thing is, if you are accessing the warm data, it might not be as fast as the hot data. That's the only difference. Now, cold data, you want to allow cold data or you don't want to allow the cold data. That is your choice. So that will depend on whether your user wants to see that data or not. Because in the transformation and in the query, there's an option which says that do you want to allow the cold data to be a part of your output or not? So based on that check, you will either show the cold data or you will not show the cold data.
Devanshu, like
Yes.
in the query, we had an option read nearline storage, right?
It's still there, still there.
Yeah. So like for I mean, if you're saying that we are not using NLS over here, like we are storing it in external disk, so does that option is any I mean option is any more valid in the query? That
Yeah, it is valid. It is valid. So see, when you check that option that show in the cold store, okay, that means that cold store should be connected to your BW system. So there is a basis activity which has to be done, and once that activity is done, then the query knows the connection details. Query knows that where to get the data from, and it gets the data from that external storage. So it is still very much relevant, yes. Yeah, but there is a basis activity which has to be done first, and then you can start using the cold data there.
okay.
So
And eventually, like there was one more concept, like in ABAP, like if some data has been archived, so we had to write the select differently, not a normal select in ABAP, but we have to write it a bit differently, like with catch and try. We have to write so that if we are trying to read the NLS data, we can do that. So do we need to do anything differently in AMDP, or like how we can actually check? Like suppose we are writing a select, suppose beyond the data retention say by the company is for 2 years, so after that 2 years it is then sent to the cold data like Hadoop, that is a third party. So if we write a logic, so which might require me to read the data from the third part, I mean archive data, so is there an option like we can do it in AMDP, or like it can only read the hot and warm data?
So you are talking about the handling of the NLS data or the third party data in the routines. The
Yeah.
Code.
Code.
So in the code, I don't think there is a special way to handle the NLS data. As long as in the transformation you make sure that you are reading the NLS data, then the select clause will also take into consideration the NLS data in the AMDP. You don't have to write a special code there.
Because in ABAP we had to. I mean, in ABAP normal select
Yes,
does
in
not.
ABAP you had to. But since it is a database level, it's an AMDP SQL script, you don't have to write anything special. You just have to make sure that it is like the transformation is also reading from the NLS.
Okay.
That's all. So there is no special thing. In query, I'm just trying to find out where that option was.
I think it was in query property or something, where like read from nearline storage.
Query read mode, query cache usage mode. Is it was in general? No, I don't know. Maybe in extended. Yeah, cold store. Yeah, there you go. So cold store nearline access is there in the extended section. There you can provide that you have an option, and then do not read cold store is the default option, or you read the cold store as an option. This is at the query level. Now the same concept is there in the transformation level also.
Right.
Let's see where that was. I have to check quickly. So I think it's in the info provider properties or somewhere. And I think it's in the composite provider level also, if I'm not wrong. Rules. I think maybe not in the transformation, but at the composite provider technical rules. Let me see. Maybe not in the transformation. No, not clear.
DTP, right? We had it in DTP.
DTP,
one more
yes, yes.
time.
In the DTP we have, I think. Yes, you're right. You're right. In the DTP we had. So in the runtime properties, was it in the runtime properties or general tab? Let's check. Only execution request status parallel. No, not this. Extraction delta initialization from database and cold store. So the initialization option is having either from the database, which is your hot and warm data, or you
Right.
also want to include the cold store there
Cold store.
when you extract the data, and the transformation will be applied to the hot and warm store and the cold store also. No special SQL required. ABAP runtime, probably you will have to, but HANA runtime, there is no special SQL required.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Devanshu, this is Sushant.
Yes, Sushant.
Yeah, I have one question regarding the invalid characters.
Yes, sure.
Normally, what's happened regarding the prefix space is there of any, for example, Sushant is there, space Sushant is there while updating in the current PSA, it's giving a hash. Okay, so how this error will be get resolved in before HANA? Because in BW on HANA, same issue is still present while updating from the S4 to BW on HANA. So in before HANA, how can we resolve?
Yeah, so in BW for HANA, if you want to remove space, you want to remove space Sushant to just Sushant, right?
Space Sushant to just Sushant, yes.
Yes. So in that case, the same thing, you can have a regular expression there. If you are just handling the space, then you can just you do replace, you don't need regular expression, but the difference will be that, let me jump to the code.
Because why no? When the space is coming from the ECC
Source.
or S4 from source to BW, it's giving a hash value. That's why I'm asking.
It gets converted to hash value in your ADSO. Is it?
Yes. In PSA, we can say. Means current PSA.
Okay. First of all, in BW for HANA, there is no PSA. So in the inbound table, when it comes in the inbound table, check. I don't think it will convert to hash automatically the space. What you have to now make sure is in the global start, you just give in the regular expression, instead of this exclamation or hash, you give also a space. So what you can do is hash plus exclamation, and then provide a separate like do a comma, and then within, I think, the quotes, you have to put space there, and then it will handle space also, and it will remove the space, and it will just give Sushant.
Okay. Okay, I'll check in system itself. Yeah.
Yeah. No, if you want me to add that, I will add it here. But I think the format is, I have to check the format for the Perl, because if I just add space here like this, it will not accept. You have to put it in quotes, right? So you have to do something like this. But I have to check whether if you put quotes within this parental quotes, then what is the format? Do we need to put multiple quotes here like this, or with a comma it will work? I'll check that, and I'll let you know how you can include space here.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's very much the same logic or the same expression what you do in the replace regular expression.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I use this in a CDS view directly? I mean, the same expression?
No.
In the source itself?
No. Tell me why.
I don't want that characters in BW.
Yeah, so in CDS view, the source, you have to handle it differently, because this replace underscore regular expression is not an ABAP language function, and CDS view is an ABAP language function. So in CDS view, there is no SQL script in CDS view. So there will be corresponding functions to replace the characters, special characters by nothing. So you have to find that corresponding functions, and you will find the functions in this particular material. I have shared that material. So go for that. There are character string functions are there. So if you go to this S4D430, this is the material for the CDS view. And here you will have all the functions, the session variables and everything there. So if you see the table of content, one of them will be SQL features, nested views, built-in SQL functions in CDS views. So one of the function, you have to search for a function which will be an ABAP compatible OpenSQL function, which will replace your characters with the given character. So yes, it is possible in CDS views, but exact this code might not work because this is pure SQL script. You have to use some other function and then the syntax of that particular function, because this syntax is specific to this particular function. So that other function might have a different syntax. But yes, you can use a similar format. That's possible.
Yeah, Devanshu, Srini here.
Yes, Srini.
Yeah, like when we get a requirement from the client, like let's say they need a real-time reporting. So there are like several ways of doing that. One
Yes.
like BW streaming, the other one like SDI smart data integration way, and the calculation view. And today like the CDS views. And
Correct.
today you showed the transient provider
Yes.
option.
Correct.
So which option is the best and how do we choose with the given time frame, like which solution should we use, the best and robust solution?
Okay, very good question. So now let's take case by case. Okay, so this is from Srini. Different real-time reporting scenarios. So you're mainly interested in real-time scenarios, right? Real-time reporting.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So now first option is you have a separate BW. Okay.
Yeah, we have B4.
So you have BW for HANA, which is separate from S4, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And the mandate from the business is that all reporting should happen from the separate BW for HANA server. Is that correct?
Depends. Like in some scenarios, they wanted the report based on the B4, or some scenarios they want directly on the S4 HANA.
Good. Okay. So now we have separate BW for HANA. We also have S4 HANA. Okay. And both of them are capable of doing real-time reporting. If you are doing reporting based out of BW, then what are your options? Your options are CDS create a CDS view in S4, create ODP CDS data source in B4, create open ODS view in B4, create BW query in B4, and expose the query to.
And we also have online streaming, right? The direct streaming, right?
No, that is for replication of data. Direct streaming will not support real time. Streaming process chain. Are you talking about that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that is for actually replicating the data, not real time.
Oh, that means like again we have to include that in our BW process chain to load every time.
Exactly, and that will be loaded into your ADSOs, and then actually data is persisting in BW for HANA, and you are doing the reporting. No real time
So then,
there.
in that case, that is not like a pure real time, right? Like how we talk about CDS view.
No. Streaming is not real time. Streaming is not real time.
Okay.
Now another option is with BW for HANA. Okay, this is CDS views in S4, ODP CDS, Open ODS view, pure. Another real-time scenario with BW for HANA is, okay, let me write this as using ODP CDS and open ODS view. Now the second option is using ODP CDS with SLT. So
SLT
this
or
is
SDI?
this. So with SLT, ODP CDS is tightly integrated. But for this, you need 1909, S4 1909. I think you already have 1909.
Yeah.
Right? So now using ODP CDS, that means CDS views with SLT feature. So here you will create the CDS view in S4. Then you will configure the CDC, change data capture, which is a new functionality using SLT triggers. So there is a configuration required there. And then you will use the ODP CDS data source in BW for HANA, and then you will have you can have either the open ODS view or ADSO. In BW for HANA, you create comp prof and then you create query. This is another route. This is also near real time. As soon as there is a change in the source tables of the CDS view, your change data capture, that means your triggers, will immediately send the data to ODQ, operational delta queues, and from there you will be able to pull the data into BW on a near real time. Again, this is not pure real time. This is near real time, because the CDS view and the SLT will only send data real time till your queue, ODQ. But it's BW's responsibility to pick the data from ODQ, and that you can do via streaming. Here you will have streaming process chain.
So when we schedule this streaming, like the data comes from S4 to B4, and again, like within the BW, like how that data goes upwards.
Via DTP. So in the process chain, you have the DTP, and the DTP will trigger the data load from the ODQ into your staging ADSO, and then the next DTP will trigger the data from staging ADSO to your data warehousing ADSO.
So that means like we should also schedule a trigger event in the process chains in the BW.
No, you don't need to. The moment you activate streaming process chain functionality, it creates a daemon in the operational delta queue for that particular queue. So it automatically creates an ODQ daemon, which will, for that queue, not for entire ODQ, for that particular queue for which the subscription is there. A daemon will constantly monitor. As soon as SLT and CDS view together will send the data to the ODQ, which table it will send the delta, it will be ODQ data, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
as soon as the data, new data comes in the ODQ data, immediately the daemon will identify, oh, there's a new data. It will trigger the DTP automatically in the BW for HANA, and then automatically the load will happen in BW for HANA.
So that is also like a real time, right?
That is real time, but it is near real time. Why? Because
near real time. Okay.
Because there will be at least few seconds of delay.
Okay.
So if you have posted the data at 9 o'clock in BW, because of the load, DTP load also takes time, right? So
yeah.
It will take at least maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes at max. You will see the data in BW. Okay. Depending on the volume. It might be 1 minute also, depending on if there are very few records, it will be very quick. So that's why I don't call this pure real time. It is near real time. This first option is your pure real time.
Okay.
Then the third option is inside S4 HANA. If you want to do, then you have BW queries based on transient provider. No data loading required. This is pure real time. I will mention pure real time in the first option of BW also, so that you know. This is also pure real time. This is near real time. Okay, because data is getting loaded here. It is not pure real time, data is getting loaded, but it is near real time with SLT. Now, talking about SDI, if you want to use SDA or SDI, then you are talking about SDI into the BW for HANA's database, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to use SDI, then it cannot be connected to a data source. Similarly, yeah, if you want to connect SDI to a data source, like your standard data source, 2LS11 VHDR, you want to connect SDI to the data source, that's not possible in real time. What will happen is that, okay, you can do this. The queue which gets generated in the ODQ mon for the 2LS11 VHDR, SDI can be a subscriber to that queue, and then SDI will transfer the data into BW. When SDI transfer the data into BW, it will be in an external schema. Please remember that. It will not be in the BW for HANA schema, the BW owned schema. It will be an external schema. So that means now you have to additionally configure the flow from the external schema to your OpenODS view and then to a composite provider. So SDI will be a consumer or a subscriber, you can say, to your data source queue. That can happen. But if you have standard data source, why do you need SDI? You don't need SDI, right? Your streaming process chain will support the standard data sources. Not all. Some of the standard data sources will support streaming. Some of the standard data sources will not support streaming. So based on that. But if you want to use SDI, then you can do a consumer or subscription to the queue, but that SDI will load the data not in the BW owned schema, will load in external schema. Then you create your flow. Create the HANA local source system and data source and OpenODS view and then and query. Either compprov you can provide in between and then your query. This is another way you can do it. Now, when SDI is used, SDA or SDI is used, SDI is not used with S4 HANA. If you have S4 HANA, then your ODP CDS or ODP SAP will be used most likely.
Yeah.
When you have non-SAP source systems, that's where your SDA and SDI will play a big picture, because there you don't have the easy concept of, ODP. You don't have that ODP CDS or the ODP SAP. You have non-SAP source system, Oracle or SQL Server or some other PeopleSoft or some other source system. There you will use SDA or SDI to consume the data and then combine that data with the BW data. So usually SDI and SDA is not used with SAP source systems. It is used with non-SAP source systems.
Okay.
So yeah, depending on what's your landscape, what is the customer requirement, you can, and if it's a pure real time, then either I will go for this or this or this within S4.
And how about this calculation views? Again, Fiori can consume the calculation views, right?
Yes, Fiori can consume the calculation views, but
or like calculation view, and on top of it, ODS view, open ODS view.
no, OpenODS views cannot be created on top of calculation views. Composite provider can be created on top of calculation views.
Yeah. Composite provider, and from there the query, and then Fiori, right? We can use it.
Yes, you can use that. Absolutely. So that is also purely virtual. Calculation views.
Yes. Yeah.
Then your composite provider, and then your query, and then to the Fiori tiles. Purely virtual. But given a choice between HANA CVs and CDS views, I will go for CDS views.
Okay, what is the SAP direction also? It's a CDS view?
CDS views.
Okay.
Because of the concept, there are multiple reasons. One reason is transport. When you transport your composite provider, your HANA CV does not get automatically transported. You have to separately transport HANA CV and then you separately transport composite provider. When you have CDS views, you can combine CDS views in the same transport request, ABAP transport request, where you will combine all other objects. So your CDS views is very tightly integrated with your ABAP transport layer. So no hassle of separately transporting the CDS view and then transporting the other objects which are consuming, number one. Second is the annotation concept and the flexibility to write the annotations, write the code, expose it to the O data, expose it for the BW extraction, and semantically CDS views are richer than HANA CVs. Third option is analysis authorizations. So implicit authorization, not analysis authorization, I'm saying ABAP authorizations. ABAP authorizations are automatically applied implicitly to CDS views, whereas HANA CV will have analytic privilege and your composite provider will have analysis authorizations, two separate concepts. So you have to make sure that both of them are properly given to the user. Whereas in CDS views, your same ABAP authorizations will implicitly apply to the CDS views also. And roadmap wise, SAP always recommends CDS views if you have ABAP layer. See, if you don't have ABAP layer, if you have pure HANA DB, no S4 applications or no BW for HANA or no SAP application, then you have to go for CVs, HANA calculation views. But if you have ABAP layer, then the recommendation is always go for CDS views.
Okay, and we can also create CDS views and then the Fiori directly, right? Without any BW ODP objects?
Yes, within S4.
Within S4, yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm asking, because there are like, to do one task, there are like 10 different ways to do it. So even though if it is complex, it's rather than focusing on 10, at least focus on one or two best solution. What would you say?
Absolutely, absolutely. And discuss with your architect, discuss with the business, and tell them the pros and cons of different options. And SAP roadmap and recommendations also, you let them know, make them aware, and create a small POC. The best way to demonstrate is create a small POC in these different ways. Create one flow with just within S4, create a CDS view, a Z CDS view, and then it will automatically generate a transient provider, create a BW query and show them. See, this is pure within S4, you can do it. Now, if you need BW, create this flow for them and show it to them that we can easily do that. So they will be, convinced like that.
So if we, without the BW objects, it's only like standalone, then CDS views.
Correct.
And then Fiori, right?
Correct.
Embedded analytics.
Embedded analytics, absolutely. And with the BW, pure virtual, this option, data loading, this option.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Thank you.
You also have standard extractors, by the way. See, sometimes we don't want to create Z CDS views, we don't have time, and standard extractors are solving our purpose, then go for standard extractors.
Yeah. The thing is, in the interviews and all, like most of the companies, they look for the CDS technology expertise from a candidate.
Right.
But when we go to the work, what we do is with the given limited time, we just pick the easy way of doing and then finish the task.
Correct, exactly. And that's why SAP has given standard CDS views to make your life easy. You just have to pick the correct standard CDS view. Either it can be I underscore or C underscore. And just create a Z CDS view, choose from maybe 150 fields, choose your required fields, maybe 50 you need, and boom, that's it. Within 10 minutes, your Z CDS view will be created.
Okay.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel. And yeah, one more thing. I think Vijay educated me on this, which is somebody asked me if there are private CDS views. And my answer was no, there are no private CDS views because I was not aware of that. But I stand corrected. There are private CDS views And I think, I don't know if I have kept somewhere. Let me see if I have kept it. Oh yeah, there. Okay, so this is the hierarchy of the CDS views in the embedded analytics world. So we have the database table, which is our base tables like AC, Doka and all. Then you have something called a private CDS view. These are not to be exposed and you are not supposed to change them, okay, or use directly. Don't try to use them directly, but they do exist. So on top of DB table, there are something called private CDS views. And then on that, we have the basic CDS view, which is interface, composite CDS view, which is also interface, and then finally consumption view. So this is the overall hierarchy of the types of CDS views in S4HANA Embedded Analytics. You can see the prefix is C underscore for consumption, I underscore for interface composite, interface basic. Both will have I underscore. Then you have P underscore for private, X underscore for extension. This view is used to add fields to predefined VDM without changing the view name. Similarly, what we did, right? We created extended CDS views, extension CDS views. Standard extension CDS views will be X underscore. And then we have extend view, we add field using custom fields and logic, which is E underscore. So these are different types, but private views, they do extend. So these are your main ones, C underscore, I underscore, P underscore. And then for extensions, these are X underscore and E underscore. So this is the complete hierarchy. So this was something which I also did not know about. So thank you, Vijay, for that. But this is the complete hierarchy which we have. And yeah, I am hearing a lot about CDS
This is
views.
nothing what you taught me actually. Thanks to you.
No. We all learn from each other, right? I am not perfect. I don't know everything. I'm also learning while I'm doing my work. So definitely this helps all of us. So feel free. If I don't know anything, I will most likely I'll tell you that I have not worked on it. But sometimes I might not know and state something. So feel free to correct me. There is no shame in accepting that yes, I stand corrected, and this is something I also learned. It is fine. So this is yeah. Go ahead.
Devanshu, you are saying something SAP is focusing on CDS view.
That's right. So I'm also hearing a lot about CDS views being the source for the standard extractors gradually. So I would urge you to become comfortable in CDS views as soon as possible. So try to create CDS views. Start with basic. Take a table, then put a fields, put like a calculation, like we did casting, right? We casted UTC timestamp in the long format to short format. So go through that. And I would say the best book for anyone to start in CDS views is this one, S4D430. It is a 180-page book, not a very big book. And from very scratch, it teaches you the joins, projections, your SQL functions, nested views, how you can do, unions, everything from scratch they have taught. This is where I also started with this book, and this gave me the foundation. So go through this book. It's already there in the material, and please get comfortable in CDS views. Then the next stage will be parameters. Try to parameterize the CDS views. Then next stage will be more annotations. Learn about annotations for theory tiles, annotations for OData, annotations for cloud-based services, so on and so forth. So please start doing hands-on in CDS views. And if you have any questions, please come to me. We'll discuss together and we'll try to achieve that. But CDS views are the future, I'm telling you. I think BJ, are you there on the call? I don't know if BJ is there. He is also doing excellent work in CDS views. No, I think BJ is not there. Okay, he's doing an amazing work, and we all can learn from him. He is doing this concept which we discussed. The second, within S4 HANA, the transient provider, this one. Within S4 transient provider and BW query, he's doing that, and he's exploring all the things. So maybe in the next class, we'll ask him what challenges he might have faced or what lessons he has learned doing that. So this is the future.
What's his name, Devanshu?
His name is Baljinder Nagra, BJ.
Okay.
In short, I call him BJ. We have worked together in my previous company. He was there with me, and one of the best consultants I have worked with, to be honest. Very, very down to earth guy, very approachable guy, and he's doing this. So Srini, for you also, if he's added in the WhatsApp group, I heard you guys created a WhatsApp group. Did you add BJ Baljinder Nagra? Is he there?
We don't know that. Vijay,
Check
can
it.
you confirm?
No, I don't know actually. I mean, I gave the link to everyone in the class,
Okay.
so
Okay,
not
check
sure
it
whether
out.
he's
If
there.
he's not there, try to add him into the list. You can learn from him a lot for CDS views. He's doing a good job there.
Where is he located?
Canada.
Canada. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for your patience and listening in. So please do the hands-on. Again, I cannot emphasize more on CDS views. Try to create CDS views. Try to see their limitations and the options. And next class, we are going to continue with the DTP, how the DTP is changed, how the options have changed in DTP. And then we will continue with open ODS views. Thank you so much, and you have a great rest of the weekend.
Thank you, Devan.